Well, what's going on, everybody? All 0 of you here. This is awesome. This is how a live stream should go. Starting off strong. Yeah, in this live stream, I just wanted to talk about, I don't know, just NAB coming up. Couple of things that I've got going on. Maybe some new purchases or all that stuff. So, yeah. What is going on, Jeff? Thank you for joining. I hope that comment just popped up because I spent a lot of time trying to figure that out. Jeff, are you going to NAB this year? I know last time we talked, you were like kind of undecided. So I don't know if you decided you were going or not. But I certainly am. I'm stoked about it. And yeah, that's just hopefully more people will join. Let's see how many people are here. Don't forget to join the chat. That's how I'm going to know if things are going well. See, a couple more people are joining in now, so that's awesome. So I asked Jeff if he's coming to NAB, and he said he has a conference in Chicago same week. Bummer. It was fun hanging last year, but hopefully I'll see you again at a different point. We'll see. Yeah, so folks that are here, just join the chat, and let's get this thing going. I don't know if anybody's actually here except for Jeff. Respect. It's a random time, and I don't live stream very often, so I doubt a lot of people are going to join, but it'd be really cool if a lot of people did, so we can get this live stream just jamming. But yeah, in this stream, I want to talk about kind of my hopes. I don't have any insider knowledge when it comes to releases or any of that stuff. So just I wanted to be really clear about that when I'm talking about my wish list and all that stuff, just because I have no insider knowledge of releases that are coming at NAB. I take that back. I know of one, and I will not mention it. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you're hoping to see from NAB this year, or in the chat, rather. Let me know in the chat, or if you're watching this afterwards, in the comments. But NAB this year is April 5th or 6th through the 8th, 9th, somewhere around there. So, yeah, I'm flying out. I'll be there Saturday, leave Wednesday. So be there a while. Really excited for it. Just saw that there's, events and stuff starting to pop up, which those are always really fun. The Aperture Dinner is always super fun, and the B&H party, that's always a really fun time. So really excited for the events and just the networking. It's just a really fun time to network and just hang with a lot of folks that honestly haven't seen in a year since the last NAB show. So it's always a really fun time to network with and just catch up with other creators on this platform here on YouTube, and brands as well in person, because it's always one of those things where kind of either putting a face to the name or putting a face back to the name just kind of really helps kind of rekindle a relationship if you haven't chatted with them in a while, or even still, it's just cool to kind of get some time. So Komodo or Pixie? I'm assuming you mean Komodo or Pixis, and if that's the case, then I made a whole video on that, actually. And well, it was Komodo X and the Pixis. Between the Komodo and the Pixis, I would probably say, unless you need global shutter, I would say probably the Pixis. But between the Pixis and the Komodo X, the conversation gets a little bit more nuanced, and I feel like there are differences between those two cameras that are, I would probably say nuance is a good way to explain it. And for most stuff, you're just not going to see a difference, like a substantial difference between the two cameras. Now with the Komodo and the Pixis, the OG Komodo, I don't have my OG anymore, so I haven't been able to do a side by side. But I know with the OG and the Komodo X has more dynamic range and wasn't as green of an image. It leans a little bit more magenta. So, anyways, that's for what it's worth. But I did make a whole video on the Pixis and Komodo X that I encourage you to check out. You'd be surprised at. I was really surprised when I actually did a side by side how closely they matched. And I did this was like last year with the 6K full frame, and I was shooting some interviews for a project, and I'd started on the project with the Komodo X as my A cam, and then when I got the 6K full frame in, I incorporated it as a B cam, and I was so surprised at how easily and quickly they matched in a number of different environments. So check it out, check the video out. It's pretty interesting. I say anytime when it comes to daylight, interior or exterior, you're not going to really notice a difference. The only difference you're going to notice is obviously the rolling shutter, and it's not like whip pans and stuff that you got to worry about with rolling shutter with the Pixis and any other camera with rolling shutter. But one thing that you'll really notice is when it comes to banding with LED lights, and if you can't control that in a location, that's where rolling shutter really becomes something you have to look out for. And you just have to make decisions, whether it's changing your shutter angle or living with it, trying to fix it in post, all that stuff. The only other thing you're going to really notice a difference when it comes to the Komodo X and the Pixis is low light. The Komodo X is really strong. It has a lot of really, really clean shadow detail. So hopefully that answers your question somewhat. If not, keep the chat going. All right, so Jeff, excited to see the new Sony full frame cameras. Excited to see the new Sony full frame camera. Seems video focused. Okay, maybe I missed an announcement, but I assume, it wouldn't surprise me if a new Sony camera's coming out, but I haven't seen anything about it. I haven't really kept up with anything Sony related lately, just because I don't have an FX3 anymore, and I don't have any Sony glass. So, but yeah, what is it? Is it like a FX3 Mark II or a A7 V or something? That'd be cool. Ross, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. So I want to see a monitor for Mac that's as good and sexy as the XDR display without the price. Yeah, give Asus a look. This right here is the PA32UCGK. It's a mouthful. I think I got the name right too. These are fantastic monitors. Looks like my audio is a little low, so I'm going to boost the audio just a little bit. So just let me know if that gets worse. The new Asus displays, I think I saw a teaser somewhere that they have a new display coming, or they just released one or something. And although it's not Apple, their displays are awesome. This is what I'm using as my reference display, and I've got it hooked up to, well, the Ultra Studio 4K, and then that's going into a bidirectional Blackmagic design box, just so I could load a calibration LUT onto the box. So, yeah, but it'd be cool if Apple released something, but I don't think that's really like, I don't know that they ever really follow a NAB thing. I don't think. Chris, dude, what's up? Thanks for dropping by. So in such a good place with cameras. Yeah, I mean, the FX3, A7S3, those are such good cameras. Like, they look great. I mean, yeah, it's hard to beat. I've just been more invested in Canon EF glass, whether it's Sigma glass, like I'm using the Sigma Art 24-70, which that worked fine on the FX3, but like my old 70-200 and some other lenses, and I have a couple of RF lenses because my Komodo X is RF, and I feel like I wasn't getting the most out of the FX3, and I really didn't want to invest in any E-mount lenses because I have so many different camera systems, like the Pixis, which is what I'm using to stream on this, and cha-ching, the Cinema Camera 6K full frame going into the Rodecaster video. You should check out my Rodecaster video that is performing horribly, but that doesn't surprise me because I'm not really like a live stream channel. But it was cool that Rode sent it to me. That was really cool of them. But yeah, the FX3, A7S3, those cameras are so good. They'll be good for so long. But if there were any improvements to the FX3, A7S3, it would be really cool if they came out with like a third base ISO to lay somewhere in the middle, like at 3200 or something, or even 6400. Because that 12,800, I feel like I didn't like how it looked, number one, and number two, it felt like it was like almost too much, where I just kind of stopped caring about that. So it'd be cool if they did that. It'd also be cool if it was like a 6K camera. That'd be pretty sweet. But I mean, those would be like marginal improvements over the FX3 and the A7S3. I mean, those cameras are just so good. Oh, Jeff, that's right. You do have my OG now. That camera has traveled the country. All right. Any suggestions on usable audio on the Komodo 6K? Not necessarily for interviews, but for Foley to build some sound design up. So, there is. I'm trying to remember if you're on the Komodo X Facebook user group. I think it was Andrew Bidlun. I can't remember his last name, but he attached like a Zoom F3 to the side of it, and he was using the Bright Tangerine like NATO rail side plate thingy, and he just attached the Zoom F3 to that, I think, and that gave full size XLR, and obviously you can run. I think you can run a line out of it into the camera via the 3.5 millimeter, and if you give enough, like, powerful enough preamps from a device like I think it was the F3, the Zoom F3, or like a Sound Devices or something, and run that into the camera, you can actually get pretty clean audio. It's just the preamps aren't really strong on the OG Komodo. But I've seen a few people run that. It's that smaller Zoom unit that has like one or maybe two XLR inputs on it. So that's certainly something to look into. But otherwise, for interviews, a lot of time I have a Sound Devices, a MixPre 3 or MixPre 6. Actually had a MixPre 3 and I sold it and got the MixPre 6 for more inputs. And I just run timecode and run audio separately. That way I have 32-bit float, and a lot of times I'll run, like, I have my bag kind of all set up, and I made a video on this, and it's pretty much the same except for the MixPre. changed from the Mix Pre 3 to the Mix Pre 6, but the bag and everything's the same. I made a video on like my audio kit, and one of the things that I like to do is from the output of the Mix Pre 6, I like to actually put run that to a wireless lavalier system. So I use the Sennheiser AVX for that. And then I'll run that wireless feed into my camera. And honestly, a lot of times it actually gives me clean enough audio where I could actually use that. But it's just like another way to get, better sounding audio and help sync it up in post and all that stuff. Not sync it up in post because I have time code, but you get the idea. So that's kind of what I would maybe suggest. So Jeff, they teased it today. So I'm assuming this has to do with the Sony camera. So if that's the case, what is it? Is it like a new mirrorless camera, or is it like an FX6 style camera? Jake, what's up, man? Hey, I just saw your video on the R5 II today, and dude, first of all, that was an awesome video. I love the R5 Mark II, and I would have loved the R5 Mark II for if I was out in Alaska as well. It's the one thing that I miss about the living out in Colorado is when I get a new camera here in Charleston. Like, Charleston's a beautiful city, but I feel like out west is just like so grand and magnificent for getting footage for camera reviews and stuff, where I miss that. I miss that for like camera reviews and stuff. So yeah, totally agree. The FX6 A7S combo for interviews are fantastic. He's using an R5 II for running gun, photo, video, hybrid work, and it's amazing. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's the best hybrid camera out there. The R5 II. I think it's the best hybrid camera on the market today. It's not without its quirks, especially for video. There's just some like random things with it that are super annoying, and Jake mentioned those in his video. But which I go check out if you should know who Jake is by now. But if you don't, he's got some incredible content, and he's a busy working professional and shares some of that with us on YouTube. So it's really cool that he does that. But yeah, the R5 II is such an awesome camera. But the FX3, FX6, those are, we live in an age where like every camera is so good now. It's just pick like what works for you, and just what fits your workflow, because you're not going to get a bad image out of any of the cameras. And if you do, it's probably your fault at this point, because all cameras these days are, in the last couple of years, are capable of delivering fantastic images. Say there's a teaser by LG out there. Looks great. I've currently been rocking the LG C2. I'm great with non-Apple. Oh, cool. So LG has a teaser out there. Okay. Yeah, I have the C3. We bought it on like Prime Day when we moved in. It like timed out perfectly when we moved into our new house. And a lot of times what I'll do is I actually will, if I like for a client project or something, I'll upload it to Frame.io or Vimeo or something, and then go watch it on my TV, or just stream it from my phone, from my NAS, just to make sure, because that TV's awesome. It looks so good. I really wanted to put one in my office, but I've got so many monitors and all that stuff that I feel like that'd be a little obnoxious. Especially my wife would be super not stoked about that. Audio cut out. Never mind. Okay, cool. Yep. Totally agree, Jeff. Totally agree. Oh, interesting. Okay. That's good to know. An extension system for the Venice. So I did see some sort of announcement. It was like, Jake, are you talking about that little thing that like goes on the top handle or whatever that is? Like I saw something about that, and I didn't really pay too much attention to it because I don't have a Venice. So let's see. So Krista, external audio, film tourism, and conferences, and sometimes I need Foley to build sound design with. Yeah, I mean, I would just run maybe that F3 or something. It could be helpful. There's also that Shure. Oh gosh, what's it called? The Shure VP83, I think. It like takes internal batteries, and there's a version of it that has a micro SD card into it. Now it doesn't record 32-bit float or anything. The one I have doesn't. It's a pretty old microphone, but that's another option that you could use if you're just getting like on camera audio. Maybe that's something. I don't know. All right, yeah, Jake says the best hybrid at the moment, especially with the price. It's just super solid in almost all aspects. Current cameras are more limited by the user than tech. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, but my gosh, the R5, that's what I use for like all of my YouTube videos. And honestly, I'd probably use it for my live streaming, but this is like one of the quirks that just annoys me about this camera. For whatever reason, you can't tell it, or it doesn't follow the frame rate and resolution that you're recording in. So what I mean by that is if you're in 4K fine mode, for example, or in the 4K modes, and the output defaults to 1080p 60, which is, I don't understand why. The only way to get 24p for like, or I guess 30p, maybe you figured it out, Jake, but the only way I could figure out how to get 24p into the Rodecaster, this thing, was to actually put it in 8K on the camera, and then there was some other thing, and then running it into like a loop through a switcher or a wireless, the Axoon thing, because then that would down convert it. Anyways, it's a lot easier with the Pixis, and yeah, it was a whole confusing thing. So that's it's pretty annoying. But otherwise, I really love the R5 too, especially with the little Tascam, the thing that like the shotgun audio interface thing that goes on the top of the camera. I got the camera right here. I guess I could just show you. I really, really like that because I can run shotgun audio, provide phantom power and all that stuff directly into camera, and it sounds really good. And for YouTube, like the R5 II and C-Log 2 in combination with my LUTs. Shameless plug. This live stream is sponsored by my LUTs. It looks how I feel like I've been chasing a YouTube image for such a long time, and I feel like the R5 II just kind of delivers that for me. Okay, so Jake said there's something that they teased today. I think it's going to be make a sensor package movable. Oh, okay, cool. So like what they used on like the Top Gun Maverick movie. Maybe that's just like a new sensor module. That'd be cool. So in the Komodo and R3D, we're comfortable using 4K for slow-mo. Did the image hold up? What was your max frame rate? Goal is to get a KX, but for now, I've got the OG. Oh, okay, I see. I think maybe were you comfortable? I kind of capped it out at, for daylight exterior, 4K 120 was fine, especially if I found on the Komodo for 4K 120, you really need to bump it up. Like if you're doing most of your stuff in ELQ for web and all that stuff, for 4K 120 to look really good, you really have to go at least to MQ, in my opinion. It's more data, but it's also 4K, so it kind of balances out. But going to MQ really makes a difference when you're cropping in on the sensor to get a much better image. Sorry, I've been looking at my R5 and realized I'm streaming on this other camera. Yeah, that's what I would do, or that's what I did in the past. So I don't know. Hopefully that is helpful to you. All right, so keep the chat going. I want to talk about NAB and what I hope to see from it real quick. Hey, thanks for joining. Have you had the chance to test the Vista Cs? No, I haven't had a chance. I've only used the Vistas, and they're awesome lenses. Yeah, just amazing lenses. But I haven't tried the Vista Cs. They look really, really cool, though. I would love to give them a shot at some point. So I want to talk about some of my hopes for NAB this year. I'm really excited, and let me know in the chat if you are going to NAB. It would be awesome to link up either on the show floor or at one of the events or something. So let's start with lighting. Aperture is probably my favorite lighting company. They're doing awesome things, and that last year they released the Storm 1200X, which I'm like so close to ordering one. Just need some invoices to clear, and it looks like a fantastic light. I'm really excited to get my hands on the light. And then they released the Storm 80C and the 1000C. So the Storm series are using their new Blair color engine. So you got blue, lime, amber, indigo, red, maybe. I'll have to go back and someone verify that in the chat for me. But so basically, it's no longer using like RGB, WW. They're using all these different colored emitters, and I think like their acquisition of ProLight really helped kind of push them into this new technology of lights with the Blair color engine. And the benefit there is they have the Blair and then the Blair C or Blair CG or something like that. And basically what that allows for them is to deliver, number one, a lot of output, but also extremely accurate colors and like really high SSI scores. Probably my most used light for like interviews, for like controlled situations, and for YouTube is the Amaran 200XS. It has an extra blue LED chip, and it just delivers really, really, really accurate light wavelengths. And why that's really important is it really helps cameras to like really start to show the nuances of the like of skin tones and more accurate colors and stuff. So I'm just all about having really accurate lights, and like especially with skin tones, it becomes really, really noticeable. And it's really noticeable when you have a very accurate light next to just an older tech light, like something like even just like an RGB WW light. So I'm hoping this year at NAB they would maybe announce or release like a 300 and a 600 version of those lights. So like a Storm 300X and a Storm 600X, because the 1200X is really powerful, and that's great for, doing massive book lights where you need all that output, or pushing light through a window or something. But for most scenarios, the 300 and the 600 series of lights, like the 300D, 600D, 600X, 300X, those are typically better suited for like key lights and stuff. And that's just, more ideal. So if it'd be really, hopefully this year at some point, if it's not NAB, maybe Cinegear, It'd be really cool if they announced like a 300 and a 600 version of the the tunable white, they call it, they're not considered bicolor, and then the Storm, like a 300 Storm 300C and Storm 600C or something. Yeah, because lights are awesome. That's like what I was mentioning earlier is like all cameras are like good these days. If you're having a problem with your image, like add lighting. That's gonna make it look so much better. A new camera lighting will make your work look so much better than a new camera. I mean, unless you're coming from like a T2i and then you like buy an Alexa, like there's going to be a substantial difference between those two. But yeah, the ADCs look awesome. I was gonna order one, but I really wanted to wait for the Bowens mount adapter before I pull the trigger on the ADC. So I'm honestly just kind of holding out until that stuff pops up. So let's see, what else? What else would we like to see? So I had like a list. I should have written them down. I was like, yeah, I'll just wing it. From the camera world, it'd be cool to see, like, Jake, you probably appreciate this, but I would love if Canon came out with a firmware update for the R5 II. They just came out with one like a couple days ago, and it's supposed. I think the only thing I saw that was like worth the update was maybe helping with the timer or the little measurement thing for overheating. I use the cooling grip thing most of the time, so it's really overheating hasn't been an issue for me. But I would love to see like an oversampled 4K 60. That'd be pretty awesome. And then I would love to see like in time lapse movie mode. I would love to be able to just do that in Canon Log 2 as well. Be a novel idea. Yeah. Totally agree, Jake. My guess is probably going to be a 400C and 800C. Yeah, that'd be cool. Whatever the numbers are, that would be really handy to have a 400C and a 800C. And if it was like the 400 800C, I'd be tempted. I don't know if I would go for the X. I think the Storm, like the 1200X, I think they're still going to have more output, maybe. But yeah, and the Storm 1200X is also cheaper than the Storm 1000C. So, if budget were a concern, but I could see like maybe a 1200X and a couple 400Cs. That would, be sweet. Oh, yeah, good call. Novas with Blair Tech. Yes. Yeah, I feel like in the Infinimat, that would be really cool. I don't know that they would do that because the Infinimats like just came out. I know they were announced last year, but they didn't start shipping or are available for pre-order till like late last year. So, but yeah, totally agree. Some panel lights would be sweet in the Blair color engine. That'd be schmont. Yep. Yeah. That's honestly it. Like otherwise the R5 II is just such an awesome camera. And it's funny because I feel like Sony has got their hold on a lot of creators out there, and they do a good job like collaborating with creators and sending cameras and stuff out. And I feel like everyone says like, oh, no one has the R5 II. It's just like mostly YouTubers don't have the R5 II, except for like, I don't know, like Peter McKinnon and like Sam Newton. But I've enjoyed the R5 II more than any Sony camera that I ever had. And yeah. Can I do corporate interviews using The GH7. Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any experience with the GH7. But is that the one that has... Is that the one where you can get the RE Log C? Is that what it is? Is it the GH7? Regardless, I mean, I've seen some stuff with the GH, whatever the latest GH is. It looks, they look really good. It's a micro four thirds sensor, but I wouldn't let that be a limiting factor. The 12 to 35 is a fantastic lens for the micro four thirds system, and you can always get a focal reducer or speed booster to widen that field of view if that's important to you. Collaborating with creators is a very nice way to put it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, so Jake, thanks for joining. That was cool for you to join, and looks like maybe not NAB this year. Bummer. But good luck on your shoot. That's what pays the bills. I'm taking today off-ish. I'm doing like office stuff, but had a little procedure yesterday and made sure that I wasn't going to be on set today. But all is good. All is good. Let's see. What else would I like to see from NAB? So we kind of covered lighting, and I touched on apertures because I'm most familiar with their lights, but I would love to see more lighting companies come out with more accurate lights. Aperture is kind of at the forefront of that. You look at Nanlite and Godox and all that other stuff, all those other brands, like they all are kind of still using the RGB WW. Some of them are using RGB ACL, and they're getting there, but still, I think Aperture is at the forefront, and I mean Amarin for that matter, with the 200XS, with super accurate lights, and I think like that is like pushing the envelope for lighting technology, and I hope more lighting companies do that as well. So moving on to camera stuff, or I guess moving back to camera stuff, I touched on the R5. Nikon, I'm really excited for Nikon this year. I don't know if they're coming out with anything new, but I feel like the Z9 and Z8 are getting a little long in the tooth when it comes to camera tech or cameras, and especially how like Sony releases a new camera like every 4 days. But it'd be cool. I would love to see a new a Z8 with R3D built in. That'd be really cool. I mean, who wouldn't want that? They just released the Z-mount versions of their Komodo X and V Raptor X, and it'd be super cool if they pulled the sensors from the V Raptor X and put them in a mirrorless body as well, or the Komodo X for that matter. But I feel like the V Raptor X would be cool for like a Z8 and Z9, and put R3D in there and cap the firmware or cap the frame rate and all that stuff. I don't know, something like that. That'd be pretty cool. I heard somewhere that R3D was coming to the Nikon mirrorless cameras at some point. I mean, it's gotta, like, it has to at some point. And maybe, yeah, like maybe it's capped at a frame rate or capped at a I don't know how it's like how they could do it, but make sure there's some way where like it's not just a V Raptor X and a mirrorless body. But Josh, what's up, dude? Thanks for joining. I on my last video, my video on the Roadcaster video, I mentioned I used your live stream as an example of what I would love to see the Rodecaster video do. Speaking of the Rodecaster video, the irony is not lost on me that I am doing both the things that I wanted to see in a firmware update with the Rodecaster video. That's because I'm using OBS. It just happened. I tested out the other day, it happened to work. So I'm actually upscaling from OBS in 4K to YouTube. So I know now it's like a possible from a software standpoint. And then I found a way to put the comments on the screen, and that's pretty cool. At least it is to me. Other than seeing Brandon and Scott, what tech are you most excited to see? You know, I'm honestly most excited to see Scott's tech. Let's just see what he has to offer this year. I don't know if he's getting any new firmware updates, but we'll see. You know, we're always improving, right? No, in all seriousness, it's honestly not the tech that I'm most excited to see at NAB. It's more the people and just reconnecting with people and with brands. I think that's what I'm most excited about. You know, but as you know, companies start announcing new things, they've typically been announcing things like before the show even starts. So it's not a yeah, it's not like you get on the show floor and go see what's new. It's just, you know, you're like, oh, okay, that was announced. I'm gonna go see it in real life. And Josh, yes, of course. No, I'm super stoked about it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And if there's something that you want me to, I'm gonna make some content and post some videos on my channel, just like some coverage, recap stuff. If there's anything that you want to see, leave a comment or leave it in the chat or something, and I'll be sure to go to whatever booth that I can to get some time with a spokesperson or something to get some coverage on something. So yeah. So I think there's a lot of people still waiting on the DSMC3 5-inch monitor. Yes, that would be awesome. Yeah, that would be. I would maybe sell my 7-inch for the 5-inch if that came out. Maybe. What I would love though is if they did that, is if they were able to incorporate some sort of output on there, so you could loop out to a wireless, like a tear deck or something. But yeah, a lot of people have been waiting for the 5-inch monitor that we don't even know if it's coming or not, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the 9-inch. That'd be obnoxious on the Komodo X. Let's see, the Z8-9 have had many updates. It's like a new camera several times over. Yeah, I mean, especially with the new shutter angle and waveform that came to it. It's yeah, it's definitely really interesting. Yeah, and it is kind of like a completely new camera. I just wish that, and this is like where R3D coming into play with like a, you know, ELQ especially. I would love to see something like that on the Z8 and Z9, but also a better intermediary codec or a better compressed codec. So you got ProRes, which is awesome, but those files are super heavy duty, and they take up a lot of space, which I don't think is necessary. And then you have H.265, but it's randomly a 420 codec, so that's kind of random. And if they do have improvements to the compressed codecs, I would love to see it at least have log 3G10 and the red wide gamut, because Rec 2020 is I don't know, it's obviously smaller than red wide gamut or DaVinci wide gamut or any of those, and the more information you have to start with, the better. So it'd be really cool if something like that would happen. Definitely interested in the new Z8 with R3D. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, the SDI port is free when using the DSMC3 monitor for sure. It 100% does that. So you can go, yeah, you can do that from a tear deck, obviously, but you're still like with a you can. I'm trying to like take a step back and remember. So basically, like you can use, if you use a tear deck, that's fine, but you're still limited to a whatever your output of that SDI is. So like if you're just sending a clean feed from to a tear deck and that's it, that's cool. But if you're running like an EVF and you're also running a tear deck, like you're kind of limited, like your EVF is kind of limited to what that output to that director's monitor or the first AC's monitor or something like that is. So I don't know. That's just, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. Now with EVFs, like a lot of time they have like the built-in tools and stuff like that for focus peaking and whatnot. But if you were using the EVF as a loop out, you wouldn't have any of the like on-screen information, like nothing from the frame rate or any of the monitoring, like the histogram or anything like that. So that's kind of what I mean, like because you only have one BNC output, SDI output on the Komodo X. That's kind of what I mean. It'd be cool to have another output or something on the DSMC3 monitor. R3D and Nikon would be cool, but I think for mirrorless bodies, just stick with NRAW. Just more capable than competitors' 10-bit codecs. Yeah, I agree, but R3D is supported with on more NLEs. So, and it's just more of an industry standard codec. And if they own the tech, why not utilize that? I mean, I personally think that would sell more of Nikon's mirrorless cameras, and then as a result, it would sell more Nikon lenses. And yeah, that's kind of what my thoughts are on that. So I only have OG Komodos. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Actually, yep, would be useful, or just get a Raptor. Or just get a Raptor. The price gap is massive between the Komodo X and the V Raptor X, though. It'd be cool is if Red came out with like a full frame version of the Komodo X. So essentially, the Komodo X is just like half of everything from the V Raptor X in terms of frame rates and all that stuff. But if there was like a full frame Komodo X, call it whatever, the Gecko or something, that'd be hilarious. And then have like the same frame rates as the Komodo X, but it just be full frame, and then put it in that like $10,000 to $11,000 price point. I feel like that would kind of fill a gap. And then you have like the Super 35 version of the V Raptor, which is also a great camera, especially for wildlife and stuff. But yeah, that'd be pretty cool to see that. I don't know. I don't know. I doubt a new camera is going to come out from Red, but I have no insider knowledge with Red. So, the open gate Gecko, yes. Lenses, I'm excited to stop by the Laowa booth. They've come out with some pretty cool stuff recently. I think they just announced, at least I saw it on Instagram, their new 0D lenses, but for like PL mount, and that are more cine lenses. So I've actually got the Laowa 0D 10mm for L mount, and I've got it on loan from B&H. I was going to use for a couple shoots that ended up getting pushed back, so now I'm going to send the lens back with not a lot of footage. But then they just released those. So the 0D 10mm and PL mount would actually be something I would probably consider, because it covers full for. Actually, I think it covers VistaVision. So that's a lens that like wouldn't be used at all the time, but it's I would love to get the new one in to see like the size and the weight and everything, because it'd be really cool for interior car mount shots and real estate. I just did one video for a client. It's kind of like a real estate video, and I used that lens and recorded an open gate on the 6K full frame and delivered it in 3x2, which is really cool. I don't really see that much with real estate, but it was kind of a cool perspective, and obviously got to see a lot more than just 16x9. So they also came out with the Proteus zoom lenses. Those are 2x anamorphic lenses for super 35 millimeter sensors, and definitely on the pricier side, but they look awesome. I have the Nanomorph zoom lenses, which are 1.5x squeeze, and I really like those lenses a lot. Yeah, and I just think like anamorphic lenses are becoming more popular, which is cool. I would love to see some more of those autofocus anamorphic lenses. I think that's really cool tech. So maybe there'll be some more of that this year at NAB. I feel like in the next week or two, I don't know, we're 2-3 weeks away from NAB. I wouldn't be surprised if we started seeing some announcements from some companies with new products coming out. Blackmagic Design, they always seem to have something up their sleeve for NAB. And they've in the past, they've done like an announcement like before NAB with like a little presentation. So I guess we'll be like, if there's something new coming, we'll be on the lookout for that. And Grant Petty will, do his presentation about like this incredible new camera and be like so nonchalant about it in his presentation. It's just like so hilarious. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I would love to see at some point, I don't know if it's this NAB or this year, or if it's a next year thing or something, but I would love to see a Pixis Pro or maybe it's a new product family, but basically the size of the Pixis, put the 12K LF sensor in the Pixis, but like limit it to 8K 60 or something, but it still be large format. And that, I don't know, that'd be super cool, because that sensor is unbelievable. And I'm hoping, I would love to be able to get one in and shoot a project on the Ursa Cine, that is. And but if they were able to like take that 12K sensor and put it in a Pixis sized body, literally just keep everything with the Pixis the same and put the 12K sensor in there. But like, the cool thing with the 12K sensor, if you're not familiar, is you can shoot into other resolutions in B-RAW, but still have a full frame. You're not cropping in the sensor like you do on RED cameras and a lot of other RAW recording cameras, where it's really cool how they do it. It's because they have that RGBW sensor. So if there's a way to like put that sensor in a Pixis Pro body or a Pixis Extreme or whatever, they have some funny names for their products, but something like that, but cap it at like don't even give 12K an option, or maybe like 12K 24p and that's it. And then like cap it at 8K 60. I'm sure processing and cooling and all that stuff is going to come into play, but limit it to where like you're not going to get all the Ursa LF features, but still for a lot of people, and put it at like the old Ursa Mini Pro G2 or even the Ursa 12K price point, to where you're kind of getting like kind of filling that $5,000 to $6,000 price point. Yeah, that'd be cool. I don't know. That'd be epic. I'd buy a couple of those probably. A lot of people would love to see autofocus improvements, or just autofocus in general on Blackmagic cameras. It'd be cool, but if they still put their energy into like sensor development and incorporating it into other bodies, that'd be I would prefer that instead of autofocus. Yeah, the Proteus lenses are quite beautiful. Got to test them on the Alexa 35. Really impressed with the price. Yeah, zoom anamorphics are usually really expensive. I really like the nanomorph zooms. They're I think you can get a set of the nanomorph zooms for around the price of one of the Proteus lenses, the Proteus zoom lenses, and it's 1.5x instead of 2x, so that's something to consider. But I still think they look great. The Proteus, I shot a project on the Proteus primes. I think I had the 45 and the 85, and I thought they looked awesome. But those are massive lenses. Those are like Tokina Vista big, and if you're kind of solo op, it's a little intense, I think. So what else? What else do we want to see from NAB? I think more in like the color grading reference monitor side of things would be cool. Ross touched on this earlier, but yeah, it'd be cool to see some more, really good 10-bit reference displays out there that aren't thousands and thousands of dollars. I think the technology is starting to get to the point where we can maybe see that be a reality, because I think a lot of monitors now are being like 6K and even 8K monitors, which is insane. Sorry if you can hear my newborn crying, but it's the middle of the day, so that's how it goes. Yeah, that's all I can think of right now in terms of like what I'm hoping to see from NAB. 5-inch monitor from Red, the DSM-C3. That'd be really cool if they came out with that. I feel like Jared teased it at one point, or was like, we're not working on it. But they were. But who knows? Who knows if it's actually going to happen? I feel like when Jared left, obviously there were, it's gotten a lot quieter in terms of teases and releases and stuff. Well, I guess not releases because of the Z mount, but we all saw that coming. But now I feel like we're back into the like, what's Red gonna do next? So that'd be cool. See what else? Oh, here's something that's kind of fun. So I picked up these Leica R lenses last year, and all of them except for one were just had like the CMOD mounts and the CMOD conversions and all that. And for the most part, like, this is one of those lenses that were all CMOD, and they were all fine except for the mount. So let me see if I can switch to this angle. Whoa. Let's try to focus. Okay, it just does not want to focus. Here we go. So the CMOD, for whatever reason, this is the Dukeless mount, but for whatever the CMOD mount, it would not mount to I have the DZO Octopus locking EF adapter, and for whatever reason, the CMOD would not work, and it was just some weird tolerance thing or something, and it just wouldn't work. And the mounts are also like really loose, like mounted on any adapter. There was like some wiggle and play, and it was just really annoying that I really like wasn't able to get like the benefits of these Leica lenses, because the mount was just always wobbling and wiggling. So I went to Dukeless's website and just bought three new mounts, and the Dukeless mounts are way better than the CMOD ones. So I mean, the focus rings and all that stuff from CMOD seem fine, and the caps and all that were fine. But if you are going to do a Leica R conversion, I would avoid the CMOD EF mount, because it has pretty terrible tolerances, and the mounts were either loose, would not even mount to some adapters. And like I even had the Metabones. I have the Metabones locking EF to RF adapter, and with the old Simon mounts, even with it locking, it was still like really wobbly, like it wasn't actually secure. So replace it with the Duclos mounts, and they are rock solid now. And I really love these lenses on like every camera because they're awesome. Let's see here. Do I think the Atsun, the Master 4K is a good buy right now, I'm assuming? Yeah, it's pretty good. There's a lot to like about it. There's some things that are meh. It is 4K, but like the bit rate is pretty low, so you don't have like an incredibly detailed image if that's what you're going after. I feel like in 1080p it's fine, and the latency is acceptable in a lot of scenarios. But if you want like true zero delay, then you really just have to go with Teradek. I mean, those are honestly probably the best out there when it comes to like zero delay. So if like you're doing a lot of focus pulling with fast moving subjects and doing like car chases or something where everything's kind of moving in and out all around a lot of stuff, then the Teradek systems are probably what you'd want to go with. And if you are in that budget, that price point, Teradek also actually makes an entry level wireless system that like I've seen no one talk about on YouTube. It's called the Teradek Ace 750, and it's HDMI only, and it doesn't have, I don't think it has like pass through, but if you are using it like strictly for a first AC, or if you're using it for a director's monitor or something, then you have the same zero delay, and it actually works with the Bolt 6. So like it's the same like delay, latency, as far as I know. It's the same everything. It's just limited to HDMI only, but it is 4K 30, I think. So that's and it uses a 6 gigahertz spectrum, and it's not Wi-Fi based. So the Axun uses 6 gigahertz, but it's still like a Wi-Fi based system, which is why there's still going to be a few frames of delay. And I made my video on it. I still think it's a good unit, but if you're looking for the best, like there's a reason why Teradek is the industry standard. And and the Teradek Ace is like, I think I'm gonna just buy a set because it's like $1,000 for the set or somewhere around there. And for especially like if you have another Teradek like Bolt 6 system, for example, and you want a wireless for a B camera for a client monitor or whatever, then don't buy another Bolt 6 system if you don't need to. Get the Teradek Ace, because it's pretty crazy. When I saw it, I was like, wait a minute, why is nobody talking about this? So I'll try to get one in, either on loan or just buy one, because it's a pretty good value in my opinion. Hey, thank you for noticing. I'm using the Rodecaster Video, which is an awesome. Can't even call it a switcher because it's so much more than a switcher. But it's a fantastic system. And then what I'm actually doing is I actually just made a review on it, and I have 2 complaints about it. And there is a workaround for those complaints, and that's kind of what I'm testing out on this live stream. And so I've essentially got the Rodecaster Video as my capture device, and I've built everything out still in Rode Central. And then what I'm doing is just made that my I don't even know what the terms are on OBS, but I'm using OBS and using the Rodecaster Video as my capture device, and then something that I can't remember how I did it, but that's the way to get the comments on the stream. And I'm actually upscaling from OBS to 4K to YouTube. So I'm actually able to get a 4K stream, even though the Rodecaster video is only HD. So thank you for telling me that it looks good. That is, that's super helpful, because that's, yeah, anyways. So, and for the camera, I'm using the Pixis 6K and running SDI out, obviously, into the little Ultra Studio 3G converter box. I think that's what it's micro converter, whatever it's called. So I have HDMI, because the Rodecaster video is only HDMI. And then, yeah. And then I've got a B cam here, which everything's super out of focus. You can see my microphone. You can hear, there we go. Let's see. We focus, there we go. Look at that. Yeah, so there's the setup sitting right above. This kind of just like lives back here for the most part. And yeah, I should have recorded the stream, but whatever. So you got like all your scenes that you can build like up here, which is super handy. And then your inputs here. And like this top row is like why this thing is so incredibly powerful, because you have all these different scenes, but then you can have press this to have some different overlays. So you can see I've got 2 overlays here. I think this one is oh, subscribe everybody. And then you have media as well, so some different videos that you can play. So it's really cool. Yeah, thank you for noticing. Let's see. Bolt 6 is a big improvement from Bolt 4K 2. I scored and got mine on Black Friday. Oh, nice. Yeah, they had a really nice sale on Bolt 6 at Black Friday. That's a, yeah, that was a good snag. They had some really good deals on their monitors too. I'm like kind of kicking myself for not picking up one, but I don't know. Maybe there'll be another sale in the future. But yeah, Bolt 6 is pretty sweet. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I can stream in 4K. It's, I wish the Rode Central app, like I wish you could just tell it to upscale to 4K like OBS is doing. And I think OBS is like leaning on the computer to do the heavy lifting of that, I think. I don't know too much about OBS, but I'm surprised that I actually got this to work, because every time I've opened up OBS, there's been some kind of problem. And this seems to be working. So fingers crossed, this might be what I do from now on, because 4K, even though this is HD capture, it still looks better on YouTube than streaming in HD. So that's kind of cool. Glad somebody noticed too. Let's see, what else? What else did I want to talk about? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. NAB and this little Leica mount mod that I did. Anybody have any other questions in the chat? I don't want to just like waste everybody's time looking at a 4K live stream, but it'd be a very boring one if we don't have many topics to talk about. I probably should have prepared more than this, but here we are. So yeah, the Rode Central app did just get a firmware update too that fixes something to do with Atomos monitors, and I'm hoping that, so I tried everything I could to get the R5 Mark II to be like my live stream camera, because it's kind of just like sits here for the most part. Yeah, like I use this for my YouTube, and while the Pixis is awesome and I think the image looks better, the R5 II is just convenient because it's already there. But the only way I could get it to work was being able to, I'd have to put it in 8K 24p if I wanted to have 24p into the switcher. But the switcher won't down convert 4K or 8K. So I had to like run it through the Atomos Ninja, and somehow I was able to get it into the Rodecaster video, but it was just like the image was really weird. Like it literally looked like the image was like going from top to bottom. Like that's what it was doing. And maybe they fixed that. Maybe that was the update that they fixed. So I'll have to test that, but I didn't have time to test that this morning because I was doing some pre-production for a shoot / trying to take it easy from my procedure yesterday. So, Jake, thanks. I hope to do more. It's just it's tough. It's tough to do live streams with like freelance work and other YouTube commitments, and also like my wife and I, we share an office, so she sits here usually, but she's been on maternity leave, and she's gonna be going back to work next month. So, like, I'm obviously not gonna be able to like live stream while she's working. She's on Zoom calls and stuff a lot. So, but we'll see. I might just be able to do it like, late in the evening or something. I gotta figure out a battle rhythm. But I think I finally figured out an actual live stream workflow that works. So, yeah. All right, it's finally time for a new laptop. Are you a Mac user? Have you tried the M4 yet? Yes, I am a Mac user. I am running the M1 Max, MacBook Pro still. And I was actually just talking to my wife about getting a new computer, and I think I'm going to get. So the M1 Max is great. Like for most stuff, this M1 Max has been fine, but I'm starting to hit the limits of it in Resolve, especially with when I apply like dehancer or a lot of noise reduction or like Fusion stuff. Been trying to get into Fusion a little bit more, and that's where I'm starting to see it choke up a little bit. So I've been wanting to get a desktop for a while anyways. So I'm thinking about getting probably the M3 Ultra Mac Studio that just came out, and just kind of keep it as the base model and maybe upgrade the internal storage. But I've heard the M4 Max MacBook Pros are incredibly powerful. I would go with M4 Max if you can, if you do a lot of editing, just because I just think you should get more computer than you normally need, because when you need that extra horsepower, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So, but obviously get what you can afford and what works within your budget. But that's one of the areas where, like, I did that with my laptop, my M1 Max. I maxed everything out except for the SSD, and I'm glad I did, because I feel like I've gotten more life out of it because I got as much of the GPU, CPU chip thingies and RAM, whatever all that stuff is. So, yeah, M4 seems awesome. The kid is like, hope he's okay. Hope he's okay. All right, well, he's good. I think he's just being fuzzy. All right, well, I think I'm just going to end the stream now, because I want to make sure that everything is okay. I know he's in good hands, but you hate hearing your kid scream and cry, because that's oh, now he's calming down. But yeah, I think I'm going to end the stream now anyways, because I've got to get going, and I need to go take some more Tylenol. I had a procedure yesterday, and I'm starting to feel it now. So, yeah, thank you for joining. Hopefully I'll stream again in the future. And thank you so much for joining, everybody. And yeah, I hope to stream again very soon. It's been a pleasure hanging out with everybody. But I'm gonna put this up at the end. Oh, Josh, I love you. I can't wait to see you in Vegas, dude. I'm so excited. But yeah. Thank y'all for hanging. Thank you for all that. Thank you for everything. And I will catch y'all on the next.